Happy 100th, AHA.
Happy 100th, AHA.
Happy 100th, AHA.
Happy 100th birthday to the American Heart Association.
American Heart Association. Happy 100 years.
Happy 100 years, American Heart Association.
Congratulations, AHA.
American Heart Association, congratulations.
Happy 100, AHA.
AHA, here's to 100 more.
It's our 100th birthday, and it's our mission to make our future about improving yours.
Without the American Heart Association, I probably wouldn't be here today.
If it wasn't for CPR, I actually wouldn't be alive today.
Be ready. Be ready. Be ready.
Be ready.
Our birthday wish is for every family, child, neighbor, and community to learn CPR and join the nation of lifesavers so we can build a brighter future for all.
Good afternoon and welcome to the American Heart Association's virtual 100th birthday celebration. Today, we pause in honor of our founders to celebrate the transformational impact that the American Heart Association has made in its first century. In 1924, our founders had a singular goal: to save people with heart disease. Their bold goal continues today and is evident by the collective impact that we've made throughout the Northeast Ohio community. I express my sincere gratitude to each of you, our volunteers, donors, grassroots advocates, supporters, and community partners who continue to drive the American Heart Association mission every day. Your support allows us to fuel science and innovation, fund life-saving research, and make a difference in the communities that need us most. There are so many incredible achievements to celebrate, and these accomplishments would not be possible without each of you. Today, I am joined by Brian Adams, President, Northeast Ohio Board of Directors, Jim LaRocca, Chair, Northeast Ohio Board of Directors, and Korey Loughry, a sudden cardiac arrest survivor. Now it's my pleasure to pass the torch to Brian Adams to share more about the impact the American Heart Association has made over the past 100 years.
Thanks, Lisa. Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here today celebrating the 100th birthday of the American Heart Association. The centennial year is such an exciting time to hold this role of president for the Northeast Ohio Board. The American Heart Association does such important work to improve the health and the health equity of our local communities, which experience high incidence of chronic disease. Supporting this mission and seeing the impact that the AHA makes during the 100th year of the organization is truly an honor. For 100 years, the American Heart Association has made a profound impact through bold moves. We've addressed barriers to equitable health, advanced scientific discovery, raised awareness, and advocated for healthy workplaces and communities, all with the aim of improving health and well-being for all people. Today marks 100 years of scientific discovery and innovation by the American Heart Association. Founded in Chicago by 6 cardiologists, the association was inspired by a social worker who felt more could be done to help people who suffered heart attacks. From humble beginnings and with a vision of improving health around the world, the AHA has grown dramatically. The association is now the nation's oldest and largest voluntary organization dedicated to fighting heart disease and stroke. Let's take a look at some of the key milestones in the organization's history. In 1921, heart disease became the leading cause of death in the United States. When the AHA was founded, heart disease was considered a death sentence. The best option for people, they were told, was just bed rest. There was no treatment and no hope. But AHA's founders didn't believe that. They felt if we only understood heart disease, treatments would follow, and of course they were right. The path to understanding heart disease was paved by research, with funding beginning in 1948. Work directly funded by the AHA has earned 10 Nobel Prizes. In all, AHA has funded 15 Nobel Prize winners at some point in their career, including 7 since 2003. Raising public awareness about heart disease became such a priority that the AHA morphed from a professional organization to a voluntary health organization in 1948. Public awareness received a startling springboard in 1955 when President Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack. His strong recovery, under the guidance of Dr. Paul Dudley White, one of our founders, generated new conversations. And in 1964, Lyndon Johnson proclaimed February as American Heart Month, which has continued every year since. Taking on tobacco was no small task at mid-century when more than half of men and a third of women smoked. In 1956, the AHA's first scientific statement on smoking concluded that more evidence was needed to link it to heart disease. But as the evidence grew, so did the association's role. Even before the landmark Surgeon General's report of 1964, we called for a public campaign against smoking. By 1971, the AHA said cigarette smoking contributed significantly to coronary heart disease. And in 1977, we declared smoking to be the most preventable cause of heart disease. In the 1980s, with significant support from the AHA, new laws required stronger warning labels for cigarettes and banned smoking on airplanes. Today, the association is working to understand the risk of e-cigarettes and vaping while fighting to keep teens and others from starting in the first place. Today, we know CPR can revive a person whose heart has stopped, and that anyone can do it, not just medical professionals. Our organization has continued to lead the way in CPR research, training, and awareness, including the creation of a global standard in 2000. In 2008, new findings showed that CPR was effective when skipping mouth-to-mouth or rescue breathing, and instead focusing on continuously providing high-quality chest compressions. Now we're working to build a nation of lifesavers by training people everywhere to learn this skill. I would now like to introduce you to someone increased knowledge and skill of performing CPR in the instance of sudden cardiac arrest. So Korey Loughry is 52 years old. He's a husband, 28 years. He's a father of 2 children who both serve our country. He's a minister, a business owner, and an author. He's also a survivor of 4 cardiac arrests and is here to share his amazing story. Korey, from my heart, thank you for your generosity in sharing your story today.
Just one brief correction. In terms of employment, I'm actually now an employee of University Hospitals. I'm actually working in the very department that saved my life. November 22nd, 2022, I experienced life-changing events. At the time, I owned a stump grinding business. I was on a job in Streetsboro, and I was driving home after the job, feeling totally normal. About halfway home, I began to feel pain in the center of my chest, and it distinctly felt in the center, and for whatever reason, that caused me to discount it as being a heart attack. I chalked it up to indigestion. The pain continued to grow, and I got about halfway home and remembered that I needed to put air in one of my trailer tires, so I stopped and foolishly did that. Continued a little bit further. I was just a couple minutes from home and began to think that what I was feeling may be much more serious. And I texted my family, my wife and our kids, on a text group, the I love you emoji, thinking this may be my last communication with my family, perhaps. I drove the rest of the way home, parked my trailer across the road where I normally parked it. And again, a distinct memory was the steps it took to unhitch the trailer, something I didn't notice as distinctly ever before, but with each step of the process, the pain continued to get worse. And I thought, what am I doing? I need to get inside. Again, still thinking it was just indigestion. So I again got in the truck, parked the truck across next to the house, walked towards the house, loosened my belt, again, thinking this was just indigestion, walked in the door, and I just laid down on the floor. I just felt like I needed to stretch out to relieve some of the indigestion pain, but then also had the thought that maybe this was it, and I was content to go home to be with the Lord. And so I laid there and I thought, no, don't lay here, get up. And I had the thought that I could check my blood pressure. I had a blood pressure cuff because I had somewhat elevated blood pressure at the time. I checked the blood pressure and looked at the numbers, dumbfounded. I couldn't remember what were good numbers and bad numbers. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to Google heart attack symptoms. And I would not be surprised if the resource that I found came from the American Heart Association or had something to do with it. I noticed the symptoms were what I was experiencing and immediately dialed 911. We live pretty close to the Kent Fire Department. They were there within 5 minutes. I was sweating extremely heavily. That was one of the things that was particularly noticeable that made me think this is not just indigestion. They got me in the ambulance quickly, and about halfway here to UH Portage, I looked out the back of the window, knowing exactly where I was at, having grown up in the area. I grew up in Rootstown, and then I was gone. And I came back. My next memory was waking up in the ambulance still, looking around, having this odd double-layered vision of what I was seeing, the medic and the ambulance. It wasn't blurry, it wasn't fuzzy, it was double-layered. And then I don't have a lot of recollection from that point until being in the hospital. I remember my memory in the hospital seeing a flurry of activity, people hooking me up to things, offering me reassurances that I didn't feel I could really fully trust, but I knew they were just trying to comfort me. And the next thing I recall vividly was trying to figure out where my wife was and if she knew. And tried to communicate as best I could with those in the cath lab as they were working on me. Does Molly know yet? Where is she? And they said, we're trying to get a hold of her. And so they eventually did. I found out she was there. I recall seeing my body at one point be defibrillated, my arms, legs, and head all snap up into the air in an absolute instant. And wondering what was happening, trying to make sense of it, communicating at times with Dr. Mayuga and the other cath lab staff. Eventually, they were able to get the stents in. My left anterior descending artery had blocked 100%, had what is commonly called a widowmaker heart attack. My right coronary artery was partially blocked, I later found out, which they were able to do stents in that later on. But as I found out, I went into cardiac arrest 4 separate times, once in the ambulance, twice just as they were coming into the emergency room, and then twice more on the cath lab table. So that was my experience, and it was absolutely life-changing. There weren't a lot of the classic maybe indicators. Family history didn't contribute. I was heavier. I've lost 40 pounds since then by simply going on the heart healthy diet. So kudos to that. But I'm very grateful to be alive. And now more than ever, I take my life one day at a time. And thanks to the work of the American Heart Association, I've been given 566 days and counting of more time with my beloved wife, Molly, who lowers my blood pressure, by the way. And you've also given me more time with our children, Nathan and Kaylee. So I just want to thank you all for the work that you do. Thank the American Heart Association, truly from the bottom of my heart. And just say, here's to the next 100 years of working towards a world of longer, healthier lives. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Korey, for sharing your amazing story. Your journey exemplifies the critical importance of learning the life-saving skills of CPR and why the work of the American Heart Association is so important. So thank you. I'm Jim LaRocca. I'm honored to serve as chair of the Northeast Ohio Board, and it truly is a privilege to be in this role, especially during the centennial year. Together, we can put our mark on what has been an incredible journey by continuing to make an impact and strengthening our community. I am proud that we're dedicated to creating a healthier world for everyone. Let's use this birthday celebration as an opportunity to further better the lives of individuals, our families, and the entire community. This is why, with bold hearts, we forge ahead into our second century, fueling science and innovation. funding life-saving research, and boldly standing for the rights of patients and caregivers to empower healthier communities where we live, work, and play. Our relentless pursuit will continue until heart disease and stroke are stories of our past, not of our future. I extend my gratitude to our volunteers for your attendance today and your ongoing support of the critical work being done in Northeast Ohio. Without all of you, our work would not be possible. As the American Heart Association steps into the next century of bold progress, we want to extend a special thank you to our sponsors and supporters who are committed to standing alongside us now and into the future. As I close out, we do have a special surprise for everyone. What kind of 100th birthday would it be without a birthday song? It is my pleasure to introduce singer-songwriter Jay Seacrest, who has a special birthday tribute in honor of today's celebration.
Hey there, AHA friends. I just wanted to get on and send you a little birthday song here for 100 years. What an amazing thing to celebrate. Let's sing.
So much sense, and we should sing and express. Let us celebrate the best with the day, a celebration. 'Cause we know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside to show just how much we love you. I'm sure you would agree. What could fit more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. 100th birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. 100th birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy 100th birthday, American Heart Association. Many blessings to you. Keep rocking for another 100 years. We'll see ya.
Thank you, Jay. What a fun tribute in celebration of the American Heart Association's 100th birthday. With bold hearts, the American Heart Association's volunteers, supporters, and staff forge ahead into our second century. We will continue to fuel science and innovation, fund life-saving research, stand for the rights of patients and caregivers, work with communities, and transcend the way we live, work, and play. This relentless pursuit will continue until heart disease and stroke no longer exists. 2024 will be an unforgettable year for the American Heart Association. As we march into our second century, you will be the center of our efforts because our future is about improving yours. Before we sign off today, please drop in the chat what you are most hopeful for as the American Heart Association enters its second century. And I will have to put on my birthday swag and say, happy birthday, American Heart Association. Cheers to another 100 years. Thank you for joining us today.